Over just 6 to 12 weeks, we've had players in the Football Fitness Academy put on 7 kilograms of lean mass. We've had players lose 8 kilograms of body fat, all whilst improving strength, power, conditioning, confidence, staying injury free. And this often happens with players who come in with actually quite solid levels of strength, power and endurance to start with. So very often when you first start training, you get rapid improvements in strength, rapid improvement in fitness gains, and that's because your body's exposed to a new stimulus and everything's getting better and it's adapting very, very quickly. Now naturally that starts to slow down and you have to change things up a little bit. However, a lot of players who come to me have actually built up to a decent level, but then when I speak to them and they look back over the last 12 months or 24 months, they actually haven't progressed all that much. They progressed a lot at the start, but they've sort of just hovered around the same strength, power and endurance for the last 6 to 12 months. And that's when a lot of the frustration came in. They would then reach out to myself or another coach. And what would end up happening is they would get the same sort of accelerated results as what they got when they first started training. Now, that might sound odd, but a lot of these players are training in a subpar way. So they were training hard, they were training consistently, but one, they weren't following a lot of the principles that we spoke about in the workshop. Two, they weren't combining the training side of things with nutrition, recovery, mindset and getting all that consistency in place. Now, before we determine how much you should be progressing, you need to consider all the variables we've already spoken about. So consistency is king. That's in both nutrition and training. Then of course the off-pitch habits and sleep, recovery, health and mindset. So considering the training principles, focusing on your weakest link, having your baseline, picking the correct exercises and frequency for the time of the season that you are currently in, then planning your week when your game is, planning everything around that game to ensure you can train hard but also stay fresh. When it's off season, you can just train that weakest quality. It's the lowest hanging fruit in the peak performance pyramid. Ensuring you train all your fitness qualities so you don't lose anything but you prioritise one. Ensure you use a minimum effective dose so you don't have to do too much and overreach yourself and get unnecessary fatigue when you can train with less and make improvements. Then looking at progressive overload, doing a little bit more week to week, pushing your body. Then of course planning your training cycles in length, ensuring the deloads are there and ensuring you're focused on the right cycles for your own goal. So when you're choosing your training program and you want to make progress, it's essential to remember this. Doing something is better than nothing. So if your mate is doing a bodybuilding plan and you're doing nothing, then they'll be improving their strength, you won't. So that bodybuilding plan is better than nothing. However, second thing, some things work better than others. And in that same example, a bodybuilding plan is nowhere near as effective as a strength conditioning plan specific to football, specific to your individual schedule. It will always be 100 times better to do that sort of plan. However, the bodybuilding plan is still better than nothing. Lastly, you need to remember that nothing works forever. So the S&C program that you do will get you amazing results. Better than you can probably ever imagine if it's done correctly. But eventually it will stop working. Your body will stop adapting to it and you'll have to mix things up a little bit. And that's when you have to make small tweaks to continue to progress. But you want to avoid jumping too far ahead, going straight to advanced methods and skipping all the methods in between, because then what happens is when you milk all the progress from the program you're on, you've got nowhere to go. Just make the minimal changes to your program to ensure you can then progress next, and you can keep milking the progress until it stops and you move on to the next program. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. So your task today to tell me is, how much have you improved in the last 6 months? What have you improved? Give me the assessment numbers to show me you improved it, and let me know, are you happy with that rate of progress? And lastly, do you think you could have made faster progress if you improved your scores across all four elements of the brain, eat, sleep and train?